you so much for meeting with us today.
Thank you.
I wonder if we could talk a little bit about how the national economies and more specifically Coke sales are doing in Eurasia.
I talk about Eurasia and Africa, which covers the entire group. We have a mix of different countries being affected by the global economic crisis in a different way. You know, we have countries like India, most of Southwest Asia, most of Africa, East and Central Africa. I call these countries, they don't know that there's a crisis. So they continue to grow the same way they used to grow. There are those countries who are being impacted somehow, but in those countries, you know, our business is strong enough where the impact of the economic crisis is much more manageable, where we can still grow our business, we could still grow our profitability ahead of our volume growth. And then there are Russia and CIS countries that are feeling the impact of the crisis at the maximum level. And there, you know, in those countries, we're trying to improve our market share and strengthen our business so that when those countries come out of the crisis, we can actually start growing at a faster rate. So it's really a mixed bag overall, but total group for all of Eurasia and Africa for the 9 months that we have reported, we have been able to grow 4%, and we've been able to grow our profits well ahead of that.
Are there any particular countries that are bright spots in terms of growth?
Yeah, certainly this year India has been a bright spot. We've reported over 30% growth rate in the Q3 and Q2 in India. That's pretty much driven by a number of things. We are investing significantly in our infrastructure and route to market in our brands, and at the same time India GDP is growing at a fairly healthy 5 or 6% rate. East and Central Africa is countries like Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania. They are doing well. North and West Africa, even Nigeria, Egypt, Morocco, they are growing a little bit slower, but we have been able to take price increases in those markets in a year like this, and which they are still growing. So those, I would say, would be performing relatively better. All of Southwest Asia, the smaller countries around the Indian subcontinent, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Nepal, they're all growing at nice double digits.
Are there particular products that sell well there but don't sell well in the United States?
Yeah, we have a very clear strategy that our growth is going to be led by what we call sparkling beverages with carbonation. And within that would be led by trademark Coca-Cola, meaning Coca-Cola, Coca-Cola Zero, and Coca-Cola Light. Those three of them, we certainly aim our growth to be led by those brands. And in all of our markets, I'm happy to say that we are successful with that strategy. But certain markets also have large juice businesses or large water businesses where their growth, in addition to the sparkling beverage growth, is also strong. But our global strategy pretty much works throughout Eurasia and Africa, giving us good growth on brand Coca-Cola.
Are there products in your territory that, if you think, if tested in the United States, would they be popular, or are tastes different in each country? So
yeah, we have very unique local tastes. For example, in India, we have a juice called Maaza. This is a mango juice drink. And it just commands an incredible, nearly over 40% market share in India in the market, and it tastes very good. We've never tested that here in the United States, but if you ask me individually, the taste palette that I know here is, I think that would be a product that's worth probably looking into. Then we have very unique local tastes. Like in India, we have a cola called Thumbs Up, and that has some Indian spices in it, which is liked very much in certain states in India. And in Russia, we have a brand called Krushka and Bochka. It's a category called kvass. This is a fermented beverage that is produced by every Russian household, actually, but we've actually developed and commercialized a very good tasting kvass beverage called Krushka and Bochka, which means mug and barrel, which has health connotations. People see the that it has some of the credentials of beer-like yeast and all of that. That's considered to be healthy in Russia. So those are some specific products that we do across our territory, but we have not brought them here to the United States.
Is that a possibility at some point, you think, some of the more exotic products?
Yeah, that really depends on how the North American business analyzes the need states of the consumers. Is there a good market for those products? And we have a well-networked organization, enabled by technology. People know the best practices, people know the products and packages. If they believe, there would be a good market for those products, I'm sure they would test them.
Do you think there's a need for a direct flight from Atlanta to Istanbul?
For me, yes.
I was thinking with the Coca-Cola connection, headquarters here.
Yeah, there used to be a Delta Airlines flight between Istanbul and Atlanta, maybe a few years ago. I don't remember exactly how long ago. That was very, very convenient. So somehow now we don't have that. We can fly to New York and then from New York to Atlanta. But obviously the airlines will have to look at their number of passengers, whether it will be worth having that line, but it would make my life very easy if it was there.
Finally, do you think that Turkey will eventually become a full member of the EU?
Yeah. What's most important for Turkey, I believe, in terms of its journey to join EU, is that it stays on the journey. Because when Turkey, the journey has got to a milestone where people thought that we are making positive progress, the foreign investment started increasing. Turkey started being able to borrow in Turkish lira for a longer terms in loans. So the fact that people think Turkey is going to join EU actually creates a thinking of stability, and therefore then the money comes in. So that is more important. I think the journey is more important than the destination. So if Turkey is on this journey between now and 2015 or 16, then Turkish economy continues to develop. Certain legislation is passed. There is, all of the regulations are harmonized with EU regulations. Those are all good things for Turkey. At the end of the day, whether it will get in or not, I think will depend on a lot of factors. Turkey is a very big country. If you can imagine, by the time Turkey joins, Turkey might be the most populous country in Europe. Would that mean that Turkey would have the most number of parliament members in Europe? Would that be something that the Europeans like? I don't know. I think size will become an issue. But I think it's good for Turkey to follow the process. At the end of the day, if it happens, I think it's great. If it doesn't happen, Turkey would still have benefited from this journey.
Also, very quickly, could you talk a little bit about Georgia State, what it meant to your life, and how it helped shape your life?
Yeah, Georgia State really, the way I'd like to describe is, one, if you think of it like driving a car, one takes a lot of curves in life. And coming out of Ankara, where I was living, went to school, into Atlanta, was one of those curves for me. And it really helped me, first of all, from a mindset standpoint. As a 21-year-old youngster, coming from a fairly closed economy at the time. The Turkish economy was very closed. It was illegal to have even $1 in your pockets. So coming from that kind of a closed economy to an environment where the general culture that you hear every day is that, look, you have all these resources around you. If you really have a strong will, and if you have a clear objective, if you have a plan of action, and if you really apply yourself, then you can achieve a lot. And that was a revelation for me. I felt motivated. I felt basically empowered that I could do a lot of things. So that cultural infusion was very helpful. I found the people in the South was very friendly. I found the social environment here maybe not exactly same as the one I was coming from, but it was very accepting. I felt no different coming from Turkey than an American here, which was just a huge, really, credit to the culture of this country. And obviously the quality of the education was very high, the facilities was very strong, the professors were great. So all of that, I was able to get 2 assistantships in 2 years, and I just tasted what it is to work really hard and to achieve things.